Hello friends, it's Alexis, and welcome to my Mystery Thriller Bingo TBR. If you missed my announcement and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will have that linked below. But for the first time in 2026, I am hosting a year-long mystery thriller reading challenge. There are 25 prompts or spaces on the bingo board, and in my announcement video, I tried to give you at least 3 recommendations pulling from books that I have already read that would fit each prompt. And now for my TBR, I'm going to tell you which book I'm tentatively planning to read for each space. I say that because I'm not gonna hold myself super strict to stick to this list exactly. If something comes along and I wanna move things around, I'm going to let myself. But right now, these are the plans. These are the books on my TBR that fit each prompt. I tried to have a good mix of backlist books that I own physically because I'm constantly trying to read down my physical TBR, and some newer releases from 2025 and coming up in 2026 that I'm excited to get to. There are going to be 25 books in this video, so please forgive me, but I'm not going to give you a synopsis for every book. Nobody has time for all of that. So I'll really only tell you what the book is about if it's not obvious how it fits the prompt. But with all that out of the way, let's get into our TBR. All right, starting out with prompt number 1, to read a mystery thriller book by a BIPOC author, I'm going to be reading The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. And this fits the prompt because this author is Indigenous. Specifically, she is an enrolled member of the Sault Ste. Marie tribe of Chippewa Indians. Next up, for a book with a house on the cover, I'm going back to a favorite thriller author of mine, Alyssa Cole, and I will be reading One of Us Knows. I'm really excited for this one. I really enjoyed her previous thriller, When No One Is Watching, so super excited to dive into this one. Prompt number 3 is to read a book where a character has a hidden identity or past, and I'm gonna go with another physical TBR veteran, and that is Girl A by Abigail Dean. This one counts for the prompt because our main character, Lex Gracie, is known to the public as Girl A. She and her siblings were a part of this very publicized child abuse case, and they grew up in a house of horrors. And now years later, their mother has died in prison, so now the siblings have to go back to their childhood home and relive past trauma. Space number 4 is another one I own physically. This is gonna do great for trying to read down my physical TBR in 2026, but for this space, it's one of my favorite. It's a book containing revenge, so I am going with The Collective by Allison Galen. This one is about a group of grieving mothers who get together and enact revenge killings on those who have wronged them. All right, and for our last one in this row, for a book with 2 or more points of view, I'm going to go with The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. This is another physical TBR veteran. I bought this one in 2022 and still haven't read it. So I don't know too much about this one, but I know from flipping through it that we have multiple points of view. We have a chapter named Meg, Kat, that might be it. But like I said in the announcement video, 2 works. Next up, moving down to row 2, we have a book set in a small town. And for this, I'm going with another favorite author of mine, and I will be reading We Are All Guilty Here by Karen Slaughter. I know this one fits the prompt because the very first sentence of the synopsis is, Welcome to North Falls, a small town where everyone knows everyone. Next, we have a 2026 release that I am really looking forward to. Thankfully, I won't have to wait too long because it is releasing on February 1st, and that is Read Between the Lies by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is another favorite author of mine, and I'm really interested because I've only ever read her cozy mysteries like Dial A for Aunties and Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, I think is what it was called. So I'm really excited to see what she does with a darker, more serious kind of thriller story. Next up, we have a book containing dual timelines, and I feel like you can never go wrong with a Simone St. James. So I'm going to be reading one of her backlists that I have not gotten to yet, and that is The Broken Girls. Much like the dual point of view thing, all I had to do was flip through to see that we have chapters taking place in 1950, 2014, 1950, so it definitely seems like there's going to be a back and forth between the past and present. This next prompt has to be one of my favorite when it comes to the mystery thriller genre, and that is Eat the Rich. And for this one, I'm going to be reading the book that popped up everywhere when I was doing research trying to build my prompt, see if this was common enough in mystery thrillers to use. This book was on every recommendation list as being the book with Eat the Rich vibes, and that is Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. The synopsis describes this one as a searing thriller that's Ace of Spades meets Squid Game with a sprinkling of The Bachelor, where a black teen desperate to regain her Ivy League acceptance enters an elite competition only to discover the stakes aren't just high, they're deadly. Next up, we have a book centering around a big event. So weddings or vacations are really common in mystery thrillers. For this one, I've decided to go with How Bad Things Can Get by Darcy Coates, which is all about this party that was supposed to be the party of the century until it turns deadly. I already kind of gave spoilers for this next one, what I would be reading. So for a new to me author, I'm going to be dipping my toes into Frida McFadden. And right now I'm planning to read The Housemaid. I feel like that's the classic one, especially with the movie coming out soon. I feel like this is the one I've heard the most about, that it's the most addicting, fast-paced, you can't put it down, and that the twists are really good. Getting back to my physical TBR, for a book about a missing person, I am going with The Boy from the Woods by Harlan Coben. This is going to be my first book ever by this legendary mystery thriller author, so I hope it doesn't disappoint. And this one is about a man who, when he was a young boy, he was found living feral in the woods, and now many years have passed and another young girl has gone missing, so this man is recruited to try and help find her. And we have made it to the middle of the board. This is the free space, or if you want to make it extra fun, I am saying that you can use this space for a book where you predicted the ending. Obviously, I don't know what that's going to be. I am just going to be reading my mystery thrillers throughout 2026, and because it's me, I like to try to predict the ending for all of them. So whichever one I am successful in guessing that ending, that will be my free space. And if by the end of the year I have not predicted anything, we know that I am not fit for the detective job, and I'll just slot in any book that I read that doesn't fit another prompt. Now moving on to the second half of the board. Next up, we have the classic trope of a detective character. And just like the prompt, I am also going with a classic, The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. This is one of her Detective Poirot mysteries, so we have a detective as our main character trying to solve the murders. Our next space is to read a book recommended by a friend. Again, for this one, I'm not going to pick anything now. I have a video idea for January where I will be reading a bunch of friend recommended thrillers, so something will end up fitting into that space, but right now I'm just gonna leave it blank. Moving on to the next row, we have again a favorite trope of mine, and that is an isolated setting. There is one author that comes to mind that does this so well. So for this prompt, I will be reading The Last Word by Taylor Adams. After absolutely devouring No Exit, which also works very well for this prompt if you haven't read it yet, I knew that I needed more from this author, and I cannot believe it has taken me this long to pick this book up, but it's finally happening. This one fits the prompt because our main character lives in isolation with only her golden retriever, as she is house sitting an old beachfront home on the rainy Washington coast. Her only human contact is an enigmatic old neighbor, and via text, the home's owner. Our next prompt is to read a book where the word girl or woman is featured in the title, and for this I will finally be reading The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I have an interesting history with this author. I've loved some things and hated others, so I'm really hoping this one works out for me. Next, we need a book featuring a cold case or an unsolved mystery, and for this I'm going with another favorite author. I know there's a trend here, but I like what I like, and I'm behind on my favorite thriller authors' new releases, so please bear with me. But for this one, I will be reading The Storm by Rachel Hawkins. This one fits the prompt because there's a character in the story named Lo Bailey, the local girl infamously accused of murdering her lover during Hurricane Marie in 1984. Next space for a book featuring LGBTQ+ representation. I will be reading What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This is another author I've read from and enjoyed before, and I've heard really good things about this one, and that it features bisexual representation. Prompt number 20 is to read a book where the killer is back. So this is one of my favorite things when done right. This is where there have been murders in the past. They think they caught the killer, and then either they didn't really have the right guy, he has escaped, or there's a copycat killer on the loose. This one I honestly struggled with finding a book to read, so if anybody has a good recommendation, please let me know. But right now, I'm planning on reading Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. I have an interesting past with Samantha Downing. Some of her books are my absolute favorites of all time, and then her more recent releases I have really not enjoyed, so I've kind of stopped picking her up, but I'm gonna give this one a try. This one is about a retired serial killer who is now living a nice, quiet life until it's upended by an unexpected visitor, leaving her asking herself, what's one more murder? For our next prompt, to read a book featuring an amateur sleuth main character, I'm going to be continuing a new favorite series of mine and reading the next book in the Thursday Murder Club, The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This series is all about a gang of friends who live in a retirement home and the different mysteries they get themselves wrapped up in and try to solve. Going back to my physical TBR for one last book, for a book featuring a serial killer's point of view, I will be reading You'd Look Better as a Ghost by Joanna Wallace. This one is all about our main character, Claire, who just so happens to be a serial killer. Next up, for a book featuring a podcast element, I will most likely be listening to the audiobook of Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. Podcast elements in books, specifically in audio format, are my absolute favorite when it comes to thrillers. All right, getting down to our final two prompts. First up, we have The Husband Did It. So this is just going to be any book where the husband is mentioned in the synopsis of being suspicious of a crime. And for this one, I'm going to be returning once more to a thriller author I have enjoyed in the past and reading Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. I feel like this is kind of controversial and I have the unpopular opinion, but I've really enjoyed Lisa Jewell's other books, so I'm intrigued to see what this one is about and if the husband really did it. And finally, last but not least, we have the unreliable narrator trope. So this is a classic one in mystery thrillers where you cannot trust the person telling you the story. And for this, I'm going to be reading the book that honestly inspired this whole bingo board. This is a thriller that I've wanted to read for probably 2 years now, since it was really, really hyped up last year. And that is First Sly Wins by Ashley Elston. This one is about Evie Porter. She has everything a nice Southern girl could want: a doting boyfriend, a house with white picket fence, a tight group of friends. The only catch, Evie Porter doesn't exist. So if we have a main character lying about their identity to everybody in their life, who's to say she's going to be telling us the truth? That is going to be it from me for my mystery thriller bingo card. I am so excited for every single one of these books. Please tell me if you're participating and if we have any similar books on our TBRs. I would love to know. Remember, if you are also going to post your TBR anywhere, YouTube, Instagram, please tag me. I would love to know what everybody is planning to read. If you've made it to the end of this video and would just like to leave me an emoji to let me know you were here, let's go with the detective emoji, because we're all going to be little detectives in 2026, reading our mystery thrillers and trying to predict those endings. But as always, friends, thank you so much for watching and participating in Mystery Thriller Bingo. I hope you read a good book today, and I will see you soon in my next one. Bye.